Hash Bash, everybody! All right, I asked this earlier, but now that we have regular power, who is here for the first time this year? All right, welcome and welcome back everybody else to the 51st Annual Hash Bash. Hey, there are some nonprofit tables around here. Please go talk to those people. Also, please be respectful of each other. Please clean up after yourselves because we have to before we can leave here today. Thank you for being patient. Well, we had to get through this unfortunate power problem, but we're back on track here in just a second. We're waiting until we can get, I guess, some other stuff up and running. But in the meantime, so this has power, but the other stuff doesn't. But in the meantime, I want to point out what we're going to do here today. We're going to pay tribute to some of the history and the legacy of Hash Bash. We're going to give some highlight to those who have been doing a lot of work on behalf of the cannabis community this last year. We've had a lot of challenges with the big money interests, with the Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association and Steve Linder and other forces that want to try to take caregiver rights away.
Fuck you, Steve Linder!
Hello, Hope.
Carl, I told you that.
Raw. Why not?
They split the team up. It's spring game. They well, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, people come to try. I've never done it. This might be the first. Yeah, I think it's like. But it's, I think, maybe the first time.
Anybody want some t-shirts?
Right here.
Nice, honey!
I did. I hit it well. Well, you know, I just, like I said, man, I just want to win. Yeah, you know, it's good. I'm just saying. I'm just, you know,
I was just going to also interject before you gave it obvious. Is how does it feel not to be responsible for it?
It feels great right now. I would be so stressed right now. But this is, I'm sure it's so bad for Jake. He's doing, I got to trust him. Actually, I feel like he's probably really stressed about it because it's really frustrating. You know, because then you lose interest in high school. Let's go to pro. Yeah.
He's going to speak first.
He's been sitting in a t-shirt for an hour. Prepared, ready to go. He's professional. And yeah.
You got a lot of footage there.
Yeah, I know.
Where's all that going?
Live to YouTube.
What's that?
Live to YouTube.
Live.
Yeah, I walked to the left.
Check. All right, power back on. Happy Hash Bash again, everybody.
I gotta get a picture. Yeah, well, I think they got it. It seems
And if anybody lost their keys, there's some keys that have been turned in up here.
If your car's
I'll
parked
turn them
at
in
the
here
corner
if you
of-
find them. There is a key up here that's got a blue number 1 on it. We have found it. Another mystery solved. Okay.
The power of cannabis.
That's how I got lost.
Before you play.
All right. Wow. Fantastic. All right. Oh, it's a cause.
That's how I got lost.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, hey, we're just a couple minutes away from being ready to do this.
Life is so ready. I've been in my t-shirt for 45 minutes. My guitar in hand. My fingers are warmed up. Let's do this.
Just a few minutes till we're ready to go.
I feel like the longer it takes, the more so. Well. Third row, second row, I've never really been after this. You know what I mean? Like I have. I always, but I've never been so not stressed.
Fenced off.
Yep.
That one.
And I thought they were going to do that. Jim was talking about doing stanchions. I'm like, where are the stanchions? But it must have been some sense, I don't know. This guy's got nicely stationed. Leave! Woo! Yeah! My guess is all of the, you know, because at least you have a lot of programs. Yeah, so they look like they're all listed at the very end.
Why did you need to call it? Test. All right. You ready now, Rick? Ready? All right. Test. Power back on. Happy half pass. I think we're ready to go. Let's finally get this kicked off like it's supposed to with the rendition of the national anthem by Ann Arbor's own prodigal son, Laith El-Sadi.
2022, everybody! We're gonna make the best of a bad situation by starting with a badass speaker. How's that? You know, for many years, the hash bash persisted, but it was in smaller scale. And at some point, it might not have even been continued if it wasn't for the work of our very first speaker here. I'm very proud to be able to announce my friend to the stage today. He's a board member of Michigan Normal. He's called Mr. Hash Bash because he is the hashiest, the bashiest guy you will ever want to meet. Put your hands together, please, for Adam Brook.
We love you, Adam!
How y'all doing today? How you people in the back doing? Hey, how many people got weed in their pocket? How the hell your weed gonna get smoked in your pocket? Pull it out! Come on now! This is hash bash. I'm expecting clouds in the sky. We got like the prosecutor here, the county prosecutor, the attorney general showing up later. Man, you gotta break the law in front of these people. It ain't fun unless you're breaking the law. Listen, for many years, my job was to bring people together out here. We have people from all walks of life, from all over the country that come out here for this event. And they take these bits and pieces of knowledge and they go back to the, well, I don't know where some of you people come from. That's the real problem. But everywhere I go, people know about Hash Bash. We've been doing this shit for 51 years. But because the newspapers won't write about us, because who cares about 51 anything? We played a trump card on them. We told them that we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, which I know it's confusing, it's simple math. If you start on your fingers in 1972, well, some of you don't have enough, but the rest of us, and you keep going, 51 times later, you get here. And like your birthday, your first birthday is the day you were born. We celebrate the anniversary of your birth on your first birthday. It's the same shit here, man. I'm a high school dropout. It's simple math. But we had to bring it to the university to let them know. And we played that trump card on the media, and there's articles printed all over the country about this event today. I got phone calls from places I never even heard of. Why? Because we still have a fight. Okay? We moved the ball forward in Michigan a little bit. Ain't so many people getting arrested no more. But people are still getting arrested. And you make sure you let the Attorney General know that when she gets up here. Some of us think that there's no such thing as a good pot law. There's no good tomato law, so they don't pass those. So here's the deal. It don't matter what I have to say. I just want to welcome you all being here. But what I like to do is I like to bring up some of my friends. Sometimes they're invited, sometimes they're not. A couple years ago, my friend Boston George showed up. He passed away last year. I said, George, let's go to Hash Bash. He couldn't imagine all these people smoking weed in public the way we do. But when I explained to him that it was a protest and that it was really saying fuck you to the man, and that's why we do this, he got it. This year I have a friend of mine who has a story to tell. Hold on. How you at? You ready? All right. So, he's got a reason he's here. And it's not because of who he is, but it's about how marijuana affected his life. So I was like, hey man, you want to go? He's like, yeah. So it's a real pleasure for me to introduce my friend, Mr. Joel Zamaya, former pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody has that gas. You know, Zoom's always on that premium gas. Hey guys, I'm gonna be short and sweet, just let you know what this has done for me in my life. Being part of the Tigers, being a professional athlete, I was fed Tylenol, aspirin, all those anti-inflammatories just to go out there and do my best performance for you guys. Guys, I had a record fastball of 104.8. I blew my arm out 6 times, guys. They fed Tylenol, aspirin, all those anti-inflammatories like candies down my throat, guys. It killed my career. I went to medical cannabis, guys. ASAP. I didn't hesitate. I have family members, guys. I did it in the past. Blew it past me. I was kind of scared just because I was a professional athlete, what it would do to my career. But secretly, guys, I don't know how the hell I didn't get caught. I smoked pot 2006 all the way to 2011 until I retired. And I'll say that pridefully, guys. We did have a strict drug code in MLB. Now it's sad to say that they are letting these guys do it. Happy about that, guys. It's gonna save all of us, let our careers go further. And now, yeah, that's my story, guys. Thank you for having me here. Smoke it up hard, guys. Hey, man, I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, because I don't have to adjust the microphone. So one of my other friends that I actually am responsible for bringing to his first hash bash, because he had never been to a hash bash until I invited him back. Well, back to Ann Arbor at least. Unfortunately, he can't be here today. Mr. John Sinclair. John happens to be in the hospital at the moment. He's been there for about a week. I talked to him the other day. The biggest problem is that John feels like he needs to be here and that he belongs here. And that's because we're a big welcoming community. But to put him at ease, I reminded him, John, you weren't there for the first 25, bro. You didn't show up until I called you and said, hey, Mr. John Sinclair, I put on the Ann Arbor Hash Bash, and we'd like to have you come from New Orleans and come up and speak at the Hash Bash. I'm sorry, my friend Richard called. Hey, you're right, Richard. I know you called. I'm just trying to rewrite history, you know. The winners write it the way they want it. But my man Rich Burkett reached out to John. We brought John up, and John and I became business partners. And at that point, I would bring him up every year. John planned his schedule around Hash Bash. And what's important to know is John had left the cannabis movement, the marijuana movement. He had worked as a lobbyist for Normal in Michigan. And then the 80s came and things got kind of rough and he went down to New Orleans. So since then, we've been able to return him to the level of status that he deserves as really the godfather of the marijuana movement. And if you don't understand that, and I'm not looking for any accolades for him, if you don't understand it, I encourage you to read about him. Because once you study the story of John Sinclair, you'll see that not only was he responsible for changing the laws in the state of Michigan, but he was also responsible for bringing down Richard Nixon. A lot of you guys don't even know who fucking Nixon was. But the boomers do. And the reality is that it was John Sinclair's court case that brought down the President of the United States. And since John can't be here today, and since I've worked close with him for years, I'm going to do something that I never thought I'd have to do while he was alive on this planet. And I'm going to read one of his poems. So bear with me, because, again, I'm a high school dropout. This one's called Ain't Nobody's Business. It was written for Henry Normile, Bradley Jones, and Bob Righteous Rudnick. Shout out to the late Rudnick. We have a right to our bad habits. If we want to blow our minds or fuck our lives, shoot dope or smoke cocaine, if we want to eat too much meat, sit around all day and watch TV, stay up late all night listening to music by Charlie Parker and Screaming Jay Hawkins, if we want to walk around naked, fuck our eyes out, eat some pussy or suck a cock, take it up the ass or get our nuts off 700 times a day, lay around and drink whiskey, bet on games, shoot dice, sell some pussy on the street. If we want to gamble in casinos or spend our money in a whorehouse, give the president a blowjob in his big chair in the White House, walk around the streets with our belongings in little bags, sleep in doorways, piss in the gutter. If we want to sleep away the day and never answer the telephone, take every meal in restaurants and bars and never exercise, and if it comes to at the end of the line for us, we have every right to blow our motherfucking brains out or jump off the bridge. Or take ourselves away from here, and any way we might want to, then baby, please, we got a right to our bad habits, and it ain't nobody's business if we do. John Sinclair, 1988, Harmony Park, Detroit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have a good hash bash. Smoke a joint for John Sinclair.
All right, let's hear it again for Adam Brook, Mr. Hash Bash, and the legendary John Sinclair.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce to you right now Marshall Clabeau, who's going to introduce a very special guest for Hash Bash 2022. Marshall Clabeau, everybody.
All right, Hash Bash. Come on, we gotta get it going. It's 2022. We're in person. We're in virtual last year. CM Puffs. It is my pleasure, privilege, and honor to introduce the next two speakers. I call them friends, but they're more than that. The first speaker, he's a freedom fighter, walking on our earth right now. From the redwood forest to the Palestine, where Israel is occupying, to the MDOC, Michigan Department of Corrections, the DEPS. Mike McCurdy is his name. His work spans far in prison reform, in cannabis justice reform, and activism. It is with my deepest pleasure to introduce Mr. Mike McCurdy.
All right, thank you everybody. It's such an honor to be here for the 50th anniversary of Hash Bash. And I'm so proud of the progress we have made on cannabis in this state. But I'm here to tell you that we haven't come far enough. Just last year, as chair of the Cannabis Caucus, I was contacted by a public defender from Wayne County. She said her client was facing 20 years for selling $40 worth of weed at a bus stop. This is in Michigan in 2021. Our work is not done, people. There are still bad actors, bad prosecutors, bad police who are using old draconian drug laws to come after our people. We have more work to do. We also know that many still languish in Michigan's prisons. Right now, we have Rudy Gammo with a commutation order sitting on Governor Whitmer's desk, waiting for his signature. He's in prison for running one of Michigan's first cannabis medical dispensaries. It's unjust. There's no reason for this, and Governor Whitmer must sign that petition now, and she must free all cannabis prisoners in Michigan. We, the cannabis community, we understand the injustice of mass incarceration, and this goes beyond cannabis. We have thousands and thousands of people incarcerated in this state who are no threat to society, and they must be released. I'm proud that today we have with us Michael Thompson and Marshall Clebeau from the Michael Thompson Clemency Project. We are working to free people. Michael Thompson served 25 years for cannabis. During those years, he became an expert of our prison system. He knows who's on the inside, who needs to get out, and we're working to free those individuals. We also have people with commutation orders sitting on Governor Whitmer's desk waiting for a signature. Governor Whitmer, we appreciate the work you have done on prison reform, but you need to do more. You need to free the people. We also must remember that laws need to change on the national level still. We are making progress. We need to send new people to Congress. We have a revolutionary person, Huwaida Arif, running for Congress in Michigan's new CD10. Huwaida has a policy advisory committee made up of many of the people who are on this stage today. Huwaida Arif will take our policies to Congress and change our laws, and that is the kind of work we need to be doing in Washington, D.C. So please get behind Huwaida Arif, back her candidate for Congress, and we need to get her in, and candidates like her, to change the laws on a federal level. So please, I want you guys to all give it up for Marshall Clebeau. He's going to be introducing Michael Thompson and the Michael Thompson Clemency Project and the good work we are doing. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, Hash Bash. Thank you, Mike McCurdy. That man's work is tireless. Support his work. He's a leader. The next speaker, we all are in debt to. We're sitting in the middle of Ann Arbor, Michigan. We got probably 150, 200,000 people in town today. We got some football. We got the beautiful Hash Bash. Let's go. And we still have people in prison though. But thankfully, we have Michael Thompson with us. In January 2021, on a cold morning, a winter's morning, from the depths of Jackson State Prison, one of the most notorious prisons in the world, only rival to Nazi Germany's in Michigan, not an hour away. Michael Thompson left to freedom, to family, and the first words that he spoke were to go back and help the others. Those left behind, his brothers, he knows them better than anyone. They deserve freedom to their community, to right the wrongs of the drug war, of mass incarceration. Today, it still exists, but we have a legend, John Sinclair. May he be well and be with us next year. But right now, we have Michael Thompson. And it's my pleasure and my very distinguished honor to introduce the world to Michael Thompson.
Yeah, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me talk to you.
There we go.
I did 25 years. They've been telling you a bunch of lies. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's the reason why I started the Michael Thompson Clemency. Because they ain't been telling you the truth. And a lot of guys is locked up, been in there for 30, 40 years. And it's called a trap sentence. The trap sentence is a habitual offender, felony murder, and marijuana. People should never be in prison. They shouldn't be in prison right now. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, America? Got people locked up for marijuana. That's wrong. And I'm looking at, you got people felony murder. Guys ain't never killed nobody. They didn't have no gun, but they call it felony murder, and then they've been in there for 30, 40, 50 years. But you don't know nothing about them. So I'm telling you about them. I'm telling you that you got people locked up in this country that shouldn't be locked up. And then you got habitual offenders. They use them words, felony murder and habitual offenders, for people like people of color. Just people of color get them kind of sentence. And look at me. They put the bitch offender on me, stack charges on me in Michigan. That's what Michigan do. Stack charges on you. And they stack charges. Like I didn't supposed to get out to 2038. But look at me now. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here because of people like Last Prison Project, Cresco Lab, and people like Kim Kardashian, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Montel Williams, and all them people. There's a lot of people I may not name, but you know who you are, and you help me, and I'm trying to help others. See, you got to understand, inside the prison system, it's a game that they playing with you all. You don't know anything about it. But that's the reason why the Michael Thompson Clemency follow us. Follow us. We got some lawyers that's finna get some people out there. We finna file 13 clemency for guys that did 30, 40 years. And you don't never hear nothing about them. But I'll tell you what their names are. Their names are Horace Peterson, Philo Hunt. You got Leroy Washington. You got so many names that I can't mention, but just follow Michael Thompson Clemency. We can tell you the truth. They're gonna tell you some bullshit. I'm telling you the truth. I was there for 25 years with these guys. Listen to me. Pay attention to Michael Thompson Clemency, and you'll see the truth. You'll hear the truth, and you'll know the truth. I just want to know, I tell you that everything within the prison system is like a third world, just like a third world. Because right before I came out, I was washing my clothes in the toilet stool. And they don't care. When the washer break, they don't care. So you got to find a way to wash your clothes the best way you can. And I just want you to know that the telephones is all private owned. The food is private owned. The health care is private owned. It's all a game. They don't give a damn about them guys in prison. They playing politics. When do the politics stop and the love for humanity begin? So I ask you to please follow Michael Thompson Clemency and follow me. Thank you.
All right, everybody, let's give another round of applause for Michael Thompson. I cannot be more honored than to work with that man. Free the people! All right, next, I get the honor of introducing Najanava Harvey Quinn. That is a name each of you will want to learn and remember. While organizing to get Dana Nessel elected Attorney General, I was introduced to Najanava's father, one of the original Black Panther parties, Blair Anderson. I asked Blair for help to support for Dana, and he said that he was leaving that to the younger generation, and I needed to talk to his daughter, Najanava. So I did. And Najanava showed up for us, and she continued to show up. She showed up working for the Cannabis Caucus, representing Detroit on the Cannabis Caucus, as a principal founder of the Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition, and now as the founder of the Clean Smoke Community Investment Project, which is essential to the work of the Michigan Cannabis Freedom Coalition in providing grants to prisoners as they get out, providing grants to cannabis prisoners' families, putting money in their commissary accounts. Najanava's work is key to all of that. So please, everybody, give a warm welcome to the second generation revolutionary, Najanava Harvey Quinn.
What up, though, everybody? Hope everybody is doing good. I just want to talk a little bit about some things that are going on in the cannabis community and how they're affecting everybody who's still in prison for cannabis-related crimes. Right now, what's happening is most of the Republican Party is running on don't give them clemency, don't expunge their records. And we're getting a lot of pushback as we're fighting for freedom. We're getting pushback at state level, and we're getting pushback at county levels as we are doing expungements. The Clean Slate program that recently passed, we're seeing counties that haven't done any expungements under that legislation. I don't know how that's possible, but we're still fighting for freedom for people, even as they're out, even as they have done their time, their records still haven't been cleared. I don't know how legislation passed for people to make millions of dollars in this industry without coming with automatic expungements, but it's still happening. We need to make sure that we're advocating for freedom to Governor Whitmer, as well as to the Attorney General when she comes up. She has a pivotal role in the expungement process that we need to make sure is getting done. So that's one part of it. The other part is, as we're working with communities and we see our cannabis businesses expanding, to make sure that they show up in communities in appropriate ways. In Detroit, we launched our Adopt the Block program, where we're working with cannabis industry people to clean up the communities, to do restoration in our communities. That's going to be happening in June. I want to invite the entire cannabis community. If you could give back to a community that has been divested in or destroyed by the war on drugs, I invite you in a partnership with us. And you can find more out about that program on our website, cleansmoke.org. I want to let us get to the music. I want to let us get to the celebration, but I also want everybody to keep in mind that this is a fight for freedom. There are people fighting for their lives. We have Mike, who got out. My dad did 25 years of my life in prison. Our communities are being destroyed by the war on drugs. So as we're going through this abolishment period, I just want us to keep in mind those families that are being torn apart in communities and to pour back into them while we celebrate. Thank you, everybody.
Free the weed! Yes, we can. This is a culmination of 30 years of work, all the way on the people we rode on the backs of, like John Sinclair, Marvin, and others who paved the way and helped us to what? Free the weed! Well, now I've been called to introduce one of the most dynamic, one of the most people-driven legislators in the state of Michigan. She hails from Detroit, Michigan. All right, she's born and raised in the Detroit area. Serving a second term representing the 5th House District, which includes the city of Detroit. Representative Johnson has been very supportive of the cannabis community. She is a true weed warrior, and as a member of the Michigan Legislative Cannabis Council, she's out there fighting for all of you. That's right. The first time ever in the state of Michigan, we had a cannabis council, a cannabis legislative of legislators, Youth Rep Yavi, Rep Ravi, Rep Johnson, and others. Like I say, she's also responsible for bills.
Okay.
Cut the bullshit, right?
Take them. Hey! Free the weed! Free the weed! There should not be one. There should not be one. There should not be one person who has been convicted of marijuana, there should not be one, not one person who chooses to use to smoke something that is natural much better than alcohol, although I do partake, but I will tell you this. I don't know anyone who has strictly only smoked weed and been violent. I don't know of anyone. Now I said I don't know. I'm not talking about people who's got other issues. But weed, marijuana, cannabis should never be on anybody's, what's that list is on? Controlled substance, isn't it 1? Schedule 1. We are asking Congress, no Schedule 1 for cannabis. No Schedule 1 for cannabis. Nobody who smokes weed should ever be in jail. Period.
Take cannabis off that schedule completely.
Take it off of what?
Take it off that schedule completely.
Oh, someone said take cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, off of the Schedule 1 completely. Don't legalize, decriminalize. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, that was Cindy. For those who are in jail, the state of Michigan is saying there's nobody in jail right now or in prison on marijuana offenses. That's what they call it, marijuana offenses. They're saying no one's in jail. If you know of someone, please reach out to my office or the office of your legislator, because that needs to be addressed. We have, oh, I already said that. Release, dismiss any weed convictions. Release, dismiss any weed convictions. You know what? Once upon a time, I did not smoke weed. And for some people, that's okay. But I do smoke. And I truly do smoke it for medicinal reasons. Now, let's be real clear. We all know it's the same weed. What we need in this state, if some of our opponents are constantly talking about testing, what we really need is legitimate testers. Because some of you out here, you have bought some weed that was not right. And the state of Michigan, they know, and they say nothing. And they have the caregivers and the big guys at each other. We want and we say no to House Bills 5300, 5301, and 5302. God bless you all. Bring the weed!
I was glad to see all the marijuana petitions to decriminalize. I always thought when I first read the first petition after, and I helped for the medical marijuana petition, but then when I read it, I said, my gosh, we're giving so much power to the government, so I quit. Yeah, okay, anyway, so what I'm saying is I always said decriminalize, that's the way to go. Not legalize, because they just try to put money on it, and license. Okay, now I want to, there's another petition drive. It's my right to vote. Now, I haven't even read the website. I've got the petitions here, and we've got to get 420,000 signatures by July 11th in order to get a constitutional amendment. One of the big things, remember when we repealed MAPA 4, the emergency manager, and then the Republicans came back, lame duck, illegally, too soon, wrote it one with a slight variation, and put some money on it, and because the 68 Constitution says, because that says no, if there's money on it, you don't have a right to referendum. We're going to take that out of there, and other things, so we need help, and I want to go to MI.
Whoa, don't be violent. Relax. You got this, Jamie.
Hello. The next speaker served on city council and then became the youngest Latino ever elected to the state house. He's a hard worker and outstanding leader. He is a sponsor for Jayden's Law, a bill we have worked on for 2 years to allow access to non-smokable medical marijuana in schools. He is up for re-election for the new 29th district. Let's welcome State Representative Alex Garza.
How we doing? HashPass 2022! All right, I'm State Representative Alex Garza, and I'm proud to be in front of you all today. We've made so many great successes in the state of Michigan over the past few years, and this is a celebration for the state of Michigan because we've come a long way over the last few years in this state. But I can tell you this right now, being a legislator in the Michigan State House has shown us just how much resistance we've had to our cause for these years and for many years. And it's still continuing today. As Amy just mentioned, I am the sponsor of Jayden's Law, which includes provisions to make sure that we're allowing our kids who need medical cannabis to make sure they're able to access that in their school safely. Right now in Michigan, they're not able to. And that's a damn shame, am I right? We cannot have that happen, and we're going to continue to make sure that we fight on the front lines in the state legislature to make sure everyone, including our kids who use medical cannabis, have safe, accessible in-school for everyone across our great state. So I'm happy to be here with you all today, but I'm here to also tell you that our work is far from done in the state of Michigan. We have a lot of work to do. And that starts with all of you making sure that you know who your state reps are, your state senators are, and your congressional members are, and advocate for our cause collectively across the state. So make sure that we're doing that because our work doesn't end. We've come a long way, and I look forward to being on the front lines with you all as we continue this fight over the coming years. So thank you all for having me today, and continue the good fight, everyone. Free the weed.
All right, let's hear it again for Representative Garza. And now announcing our next speaker, Zara Abbas.
Hello, everyone. So the next guest I'm introducing, so Representative Yousef Rabhi has been a friend and ally to the cannabis movement since getting elected as Ann Arbor's current state rep in 2017. He has consistently utilized avenues and ways to make or change the laws to make it more inclusive of the people's voices. With that, it is my honor to introduce Representative Yousef Rabhi to the stage.
Hashbash 2022! Oh my God, so good to see all of you here today. We have an amazing turnout, amazing people here to fight, not just to free the weed, but to free the people. Free the people. Now, you just heard from two of my amazing colleagues in the State House of Representatives. My name is Yusuf Rabi. I'm the state representative for the 53rd District, which is the city of Ann Arbor, the diag of the University of Michigan. We are in it right now, and it is an honor to be here with you today. So I want to explain to you something. Cynthia A. Johnson, who you just heard from, this is the chairwoman of the Michigan House of Representatives Cannabis Caucus. She is a champion for cannabis issues every day in the State House of Representatives. Alex Garza, I want to explain to you why he came up here to speak today. A few months ago, those that want to secure the market of cannabis for themselves, big cannabis industry, introduced legislation to fuck caregivers. That's not right. We support our caregivers in the state of Michigan. We support our caregivers. Caregivers are the ones that built this industry. Caregivers are the ones that stood and fought for legalization. We will not stand by while corporate cannabis tries to take out our caregivers. The reason that Alex Garza is up here today, and he is a brave fighter for caregivers. He voted no on that bill in committee, and I believe he was the only one. Let's give a round of applause for Alex Garza for standing strong for caregivers in the state of Michigan. Thankfully, the bill has not come up for a vote on the floor, but we need all of you to activate, to call, to fight back for caregivers across the state. We also need you to help support both of these two fine representatives who are on the ballot this year and both have tough elections. You need to support them. They need your support. This is incredible to see this event having gone from what it was over 50 years ago now, or 50 years ago, I guess this is the 50th anniversary, to what it is now, where you have the who's who of Michigan politics showing up at Hash Bash and speaking about the importance of cannabis to the state of Michigan. A couple other shout outs that I want to make. Dana Nessel. Dana Nessel, who you're going to hear from in a little bit. I'd have to tell you how fucked up this state would be without Dana Nessel. Dana Nessel is a fighter and a champion for the people. Now, you may not agree with her on everything, but I can tell you that when push comes to shove, she stands with the people 100% of the time. I can guarantee you that. We also have people running for judicial offices, like Corrine Moore, who's here today. People who, they're coming forward, state rep candidates who are coming to Hash Bash to make sure that you all can see them and get in front of them. Because we, as cannabis activists, have an incredible amount of work to do. Just because we passed Proposal 1, that does not mean that our work is done. Far from it. What did I say when I first got up here? I said, free the weed and free the people. Way too many people are locked up. Too many people are in jail. And by the way, these are political prisoners. These are political prisoners, and we need to free them. We need to expunge criminal records. That's why I introduced legislation for criminal record expungement that passed, and we're moving forward. We need to make it stronger. We've also introduced legislation in the state of Michigan, the first ever bill to deschedule cannabis in Michigan. It is a clean, full deschedule of cannabis. We're not fucking around. We named it the John Sinclair Act because we know John Sinclair, a fighter for our issues has been in the trenches for decades. We come together on this space every year to organize, to fight back, to elevate our issues. There has never been a better time to roll up our sleeves and our joints to fight for cannabis in Michigan. Are you with me? I can't hear you, Ashbash. Are you with me? Are we going to free the weed in Michigan? Are we going to deschedule cannabis in Michigan? Are we going to protect caregivers in Michigan? Are we going to deschedule federally? Yes, we are. Yes, we will. Thank you all.
All right, let's hear it again for Rep. Robbie and all the House representatives here today on our side. So, Congresswoman Dingell could not make it here today, but she sent a statement, and that will be read by one of her campaign operatives, Leah.
Happy Hash Bash, everybody! My name is Leah. I'm the field director for Congresswoman Dingell and the secretary of the Cannabis Caucus, and so excited to be here with you today. I'm going to read you a message from her. She sends her regrets not being here, but she is with you in spirit. So Ms. Dingell would like you to know, first and foremost, good afternoon, everyone, and that she's so sorry she could not be here with you today for the first in-person Hash Bash in 2 years. It's appropriate that we are here to celebrate 50 years of Hash Bash as we are finally making progress on reforming our nation's marijuana laws. Change always feels slow, but it's important for us to look back and see how far we've come. In 1972, John Sinclair challenged norms and laws for processing marijuana and has served as the inspiration for this event ever since. Since the beginning of Hash Bash, you have kept your eyes forward and kept a clear head where you want Michigan and the nation to go. You successfully rallied for the support of legalization of medical cannabis in 2008 and the recreational use for adults in 2018. Your decades of hard work have culminated with an entirely new legal industry that has created jobs and new opportunities for entrepreneurs and delivered $150 million in tax revenue to help our schools, rebuild our roads, and support our communities in 2021 alone. On top of that, we've stopped wasting law enforcement's time and resources enforcing and prosecuting low-level marijuana possession. Law enforcement has said for years that our marijuana laws are outdated, deplete their resources, and disproportionately impact communities of color, and we must end it. This week, the House of Representatives took a major step in reforming federal laws around marijuana by passing the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement, or MORE Act. This bill would legalize adult recreational marijuana use at the federal level and remove it from Schedule I of the Controlled Substances Act. Investment in communities that have been hurt by the misguided war on drugs, specifically by ensuring communities of color have equitable access to participate in the legal marijuana industry and lead the expungement of federal marijuana convictions. It would also end the blockades to urgent medical research that could help us better understand and benefit from the impacts of marijuana. One second. This is a bipartisan issue. It is a moral responsibility to right the wrongs of our past and an economic opportunity to help our communities grow in a rapidly growing industry. And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has said he plans to take up this legislation and put it to vote. It's time to make local and federal laws work for the American people. Last year, I worked with my colleague Congressman Ed Perlmutter to pass the Safe Banking Act, legislation that would increase public safety and accountability by allowing marijuana businesses to access banks, rather than being forced to conduct all their business with cash. Dealing with duffel bags of cash for these legitimate businesses at increased risk of robbery and target recruitment. The Senate needs to take up and pass this legislation.
want no boob.
Pre-rolls, edibles, mushrooms. Right on.
Why on earth would anybody be criminalized for having too much cannabis? But there are other reasons as well, because the criminalization of cannabis is part of our dark and counterproductive history of the war on drugs. It has always been contrary to science, but it has also been highly inequitable. Half of American adults report to people, to pollsters, that they have used cannabis at some time in their life. Very few of those have been criminally prosecuted. So we have perpetuated in this country a cruel roulette wheel for far too long, in which only an unlucky few get prosecuted and get criminalized for doing what so many Americans do, and that is unjust. But when I say that it's a roulette wheel, the truth of the matter is it is not an even roulette wheel. Black people in this country are significantly more likely than white people to be arrested and to have criminal records for cannabis convictions. Right here in Michigan, despite the fact that cannabis usage is equal across races, a black person is 4.7 times more likely to be arrested, to be prosecuted for cannabis than a white person. That is unacceptable, that is inequitable, and that is what we need to change. Now the good news is we are winning! We are winning!
That's probably more than you'll ever have.
Only 8% of American adults support prohibitionist policies on cannabis. 8%! You can't get 92% for anything else in this country. And every time cannabis legalization goes to the ballot in a blue state or a red state or a purple state, it wins by huge margins here in Michigan, but in places like South Dakota, Montana, Colorado, every place we are winning. But we need more. And speaking of more, the House passed the MORE Act yesterday. We need to decriminalize cannabis at the federal level. The Senate needs to act on that quickly, and President Biden needs to sign it as soon as it comes across his desk. But with the progress that's been made, we also can't forget about the past. There are too many people in this country who have criminal records as a result of old cannabis convictions. That holds people back from housing, from jobs, from educational opportunities. It is unjust and it needs to end. So, thank you to Representative Robbie who spoke. We have an expungement law in the state of Michigan now, and you can clear old cannabis convictions right now. If you want help doing that, we have a booth set up with the Michigan Democratic Party Cannabis Caucus at the Monroe Street Fair. Come by. We will do free instant eligibility checks, and if it's a Michigan conviction, we'll get you connected to resources to get that record clear. So friends, my friends, let's continue to fight. Let's continue to fight until we finally turn the page on the inequitable and unjust war on cannabis. Let's continue to fight until cannabis is decriminalized and legalized across 50 states and at the federal level. And let us continue to fight until every single old cannabis conviction is off people's records and we can finally turn the page on the shameful stain that is the war on cannabis in the United States of America. Thank you.
Ellie Salmon is here for him again. He and Victoria Burton Harris are a super team in the prosecutor's office. I'm sorry. No, that came off again. All right, whatever. All right, everybody. Introduce our next special guest. One of the guys that qualifies as the legacy and the history of this great movement. It's taken tens of thousands of us over decades to really move the needle forward where it is. Dr. Detroit, Mike Whitty. Let's hear it for him.
All we are saying here today is give us some freedom and liberty and choice and respect and end the stigma on cannabis. Because I believe pot makes us more relaxed and friendly and peaceful and kind and accepting and open-minded and loving. That can help unite community. It's what brought Dana Nussel and I together. It brings us together as a human family. We're all the same species. We're all the same family. We're all on the boat together. It's a historic day for us. Sitting with the acting Attorney General, the sitting Attorney General was at the Hash Bash for the second time. So I think she's been so instrumental in freeing Michael Thompson. She's the best ever Attorney General we've had. We've helped elect her, and we need to do it again. Get involved in this election cycle. Yeah, and we need to respect all the defense of legalization that she has helped us expand so that we can use this cannabis sacred herb outside work and not get fired for it. He has a case before the Unemployment Insurance Commission on that. She has a working group continuing to sort out policy on many fronts, defending medical marijuana, caregivers and patients, and working with the Americans for Safe Access. Our Cannabis Caucus of the Michigan Democratic Party realizes the threat of this election cycle, and everybody needs to get involved where you're local. And if you're a Republican, convert to Republicans. Work on your own friends. We expand. Cannabis reaches everybody, all of the humans. So we got to convert everybody. It's our mission to raise human consciousness for the future of humanity, so we have a happy ending to our lives, and we have a happy human story, and we save the planet. This is part of all of the things that we need everybody to be engaged in. Dana will help us free the weed, yes indeed. And she has guts, brains, and compassion. I've seen her on many issues. She has guts, brains, and compassion. And with a whole lot of gratitude and a loving attitude, I'd like all of us to give a big welcome to our next Attorney General, the sitting Attorney General, Dana Nussel. Welcome, Dana. All right.
Is it me or does it kind of smell like pot in here? Is that weird? So, I'm going to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was an attorney general in this state by the name of Bill Schuette. Has anybody heard of him? Fuck Bill Schuette! Now, what Bill Schuette liked to do when he was attorney general is he liked to spend a lot of his time and a lot of your tax dollars investigating marijuana cases and prosecuting marijuana cases. And he also liked to author formal AG opinions about really the best way to uphold convictions against those in the marijuana industry. You see, he believed that marijuana was a tool of the devil. No different than heroin, cocaine, meth, any other kind of street drug. So 4 years ago, I came here and I stood in the same very place as the first candidate to run for Attorney General in the history of this state that supported both legalized medical and recreational marijuana. And I was an ardent supporter of Proposition 1. And I vowed to be a different kind of Attorney General, you know? And the good news is, I won. So since that time, I dismissed or got rid of all of the pending marijuana cases that were pending at our office, left over from my predecessor. I actually drafted the marijuana expungement law that for possession or use makes it as easy as filling out a piece of paper and sending it in to your courthouse, and makes it automatic as long as there's no objection within 60 days from the prosecutor. And I testified before both the House and the Senate, and I urged them to do the same thing with felony marijuana cases, although they did not. But I've worked tirelessly since then to help people with marijuana convictions set aside those convictions. And we've had expungement fairs all over the state. And if you look at my website, we have all the forms on there to make it as easy as possible to get those expungements. And remember, no matter what else you have been convicted of, you are still eligible to get those misdemeanors off your record. We've helped people serving decades in prison for marijuana-related offenses to have their sentences commuted, including Michael Thompson. I wrote letter after letter after letter to the United States Congress supporting things like the STATES Act to allow states that legalize marijuana to regulate it as they see fit, and the Safe Banking Act to allow banks and financial institutions to service those who operate in the cannabis industry. It's a matter of public safety. I've supported the descheduling of marijuana as a Schedule I narcotic both by the state and by Congress so that we can at long last test cannabis properly and determine all the ways it can best be used medically to help people. And I fought to ensure that the Unemployment Insurance Agency cannot deny workers unemployment benefits just because they test positive for THC. And most importantly, you should know that in my almost 3.5 years in office, I have not charged a single person with manufacturing, distribution, or possession with intent to deliver marijuana.
Thank you, Dana! Thank you, Dana!
See, I believe in working with the cannabis industry to assist in creating a strong, fair, regulated marketplace where the industry can thrive and where consumers can be sure they are purchasing and using a safe and regulated product. But you know what? That could all change come January of 2023.
Fuck Tom Logan!
The Republicans that are running against me don't believe that this industry and those who consume this product should be protected. And if any of them beat me in November, you can be certain to again see massive investigations and prosecutions of marijuana cases. And remember, those laws are still on the books. And while I'm committed to ensuring that those who participate in the marketplace properly produce, test, and sell their product, and pay taxes on their product, I believe that the Attorney General of this state has better things to do with your money than to use it to throw people in jail and prison for marijuana crimes. And maybe if the previous Attorney General had spent more time prosecuting, I don't know, sexual assault cases, and less time on marijuana cases, a lot of people would be in a much better place today than they are. So, with that, let me say this. Happy Hash Bash! Enjoy yourselves, be safe, and get out and vote this year, because the freedom that you have now could all soon be a thing of the past. So let's not turn the clock backwards. Let's keep moving forward. Have an incredible Hash Bash and enjoy your freedom. Thank you, everybody.
All right, the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, let's hear it for her again. It's the first time a sitting Attorney General has come on stage with us. Very much appreciated. And now to read an address from Congresswoman Tlaib will be Zahra Abbas.
So Congresswoman Tlaib wishes she could have been here with us today, but she couldn't. She sends her regards. So now I'll read her statement. As someone who grew up in a community on the front line of the war on drugs, it is encouraging to see more and more states end prohibition and begin to repair some of the incalculable damage that decades of racist policy and policing has caused in our communities. Just this week, the House of Representatives once again passed the MORE Act to finally decriminalize marijuana and expunge marijuana-related convictions. The MORE Act would also increase access to federal benefits and establish a fund to redirect resources into communities harmed by the war on drugs. Now, it's up to the Senate and the President to end this misguided discriminatory policy once and for all. We know the war on drugs was designed to target Black and brown Americans, and the obvious disparities in enforcement shows us that it is still at its core a racist effort targeting communities of color through over-policing, criminalization, and mass incarceration. State and federal legalization are important steps on the road to repairing that damage, but we still have so much work to do. We must be bold. Our goal must be to end this country's militarized, jail first, ask questions later approach to addiction and mental health issues, and to stop trying to solve social problems with more criminalization. Thank you to everyone celebrating today. Your advocacy has brought us closer to the society we all deserve. I wish everyone a safe and joyous Hash Bash 2022.
Hey everybody, happy Hash Bash. I love all these incredible leaders from our legislature from around the state, our Attorney General, our county prosecutor, and now we have another local incredible leader, our city council person, Jeff Hainer from Ann Arbor City Council is here to speak. He's from Ward 1 of Ann Arbor here. He's been in Ann Arbor for decades, graduate of the University of Michigan. Please welcome City Council person Jeff Hainer.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I'll try and keep this short like some old school Northern Lights. Yeah, I'm Jeff Hainer, and I'm known for kind of speaking my mind here on City Council. And I also was known recently for quoting Hunter Thompson. And so I'm going to quote Hunter Thompson again. And what Hunter said, freedom is something that dies unless it's used. And I think that's pretty accurate. And I think we need to continue to free the weed. Free the weed. And what I think is saying free the weed, it means that we shouldn't let any unnatural law of government stand between us and a respectful and symbiotic relationship with nature. These are plant medicines we're talking about here. In our time on council, I've done all I can to respect freedoms and free nature from our exploits. And I'm not exactly willing to completely crush capitalism. I wouldn't mind breaking its legs so when it comes back we can have a little conversation. So in September 2020, the city council here in Ann Arbor did what we could to free plant medicines, and we passed a resolution that effectively decriminalized the 4 entheogenic plant groups. And the mayor and the city council called upon the Washtenaw County prosecutor, Ellie Savitt, to cease prosecution of persons involved in the use of entheogenic plants or plant-based compounds that are designated Schedule 1. Yeah, absolutely. And it's your opportunity today to be involved, to respect this process, and to go over there to that blue and gold booth and sign your name on a petition to take this action statewide so we can legalize entheogenic plants statewide. These are plants with spiritual, ritual, and healing uses, just like marijuana. So now that marijuana is available commercially, we've been receiving tax monies returned to the communities. This excise tax are coming back to the community. And I just like people to know what we're doing with it. That the city of Ann Arbor passed a resolution that directs marijuana's excise tax funds in a way that intentionally reinvests in our community and acknowledges the past harms of criminalization and supports populations disproportionately and negatively impacted by the war on drugs. So that money's been being spent this year to hold expungement fairs where hundreds of people have had their records cleared here in the city of Ann Arbor and Washtenaw County. And these expungement fairs are going on. Some of the money that is being spent and returned to the communities after the state takes their cut is being put to good use. I just thought people should know that. So we appreciate you, that money coming back to us. Okay. Now let me say something about the origins of this event. So legalization came from recognizing and respecting medicinal uses. And we need to oppose any changes in the laws that dissolve or prohibit the relationship between caregiver and patient. It's so important that we continue to understand and respect the medical use of marijuana and the caregiver-patient relationship. Legalization came from civic actions also, like organizing and petitioning and voting. So stay involved, stay voting. If marijuana is one of your issues, vote that issue. You know, as the industry grows and matures, we got to take forward with us only the best practices. We got to keep our markets open to all. We have to, let me just mention this. When you buy stuff here, when you buy recreational marijuana, it comes in these packages. Can we please encourage the industry to get rid of these and switch to recyclable and compostable packaging? Please vote with your dollars. Support people who switch to compostable or recyclable only packaging. We got to take best practices forward with us. We got to frequent places that give back to the community. We have to ensure equality of access to the marketplace. We do not want to allow large corporations to take over this industry and set the rules. They're going to remove barriers to access. They're going to do only what's best for them. So let's see if we can keep this small. I'm going to continue to advocate for everybody's freedoms as best I can, and I hope that you all do too, and I hope you get involved. And now I want to tell you something that happened many years ago. So I had a couple friends, Rick and Dean, some brothers, and at a hash bash some years back, a while ago, Dean came up and waved his $5 ticket in front of us. He said, "I got a $5 ticket for smoking marijuana at hash bash." And Rick says, "You gonna pay it?" And Dean says, "No, I'm gonna frame it. I'm gonna frame it on my wall because I'm proud to do this. I'm proud to stand up for the rights of people to have their own relationship with nature, to have a relationship that isn't encumbered by law." So as we move forward, I just want to encourage people to do their best to stay involved, to vote for marijuana, vote for the freedom of the plants, and freeing people who have used the plants, entheogenic plants, other plants, whatever it takes to free the weed. And so one love to everybody, and thank you very much for coming out today.
Hey, greetings, I'm back again. It's going to be real brief, efficiently. The power of one man is amazing. And this guy, he deserves an introduction because every prosecutor in the state of Michigan is cussing his name because he won. He got the right to use his cannabis while he's on probation. Now, let me ask you this. Would you want to go to a judge to fix your computer? Do you want a judge to do your teeth? No! No. So, this law that he whooped down made sure that a judge will never tell a patient that they can't use cannabis. They are not doctors. And it's without that, I'm gonna be quick, to proudly introduce this troublemaker. They cuss his name all the way from Traverse City. Mr. Michael Dewey! Be the weed! Yes, we can! Thank you, Richard. Thank you too, man. I'm loving it.
The most hated man in Michigan!
Most hated man in Michigan. I've heard that a couple times this weekend already. Welcome, Hash Bash. Thank you guys for sticking around and still hanging out with us. Oh man, not too bad. The weather could be worse. You know, it's always could be worse. Again, yes, I'm Michael Dewey. I had the honor to fight on behalf of the patients. I've been doing it for a long time, but last year we had the opportunity to really make a stance and a statement and set precedents in law. Something that they can't just take back on us. There was the People versus Michael Dewey, the Court of Appeals number 353978. It passed on February 11th, 2021 for publication. Publication means it set precedents also and can be cited in other states across the country. The problem with that though now is not only being the most hated man, is we got a lot of people in opposition and a lot of prosecutors and judges. And so the Michigan Association of Court Professionals are pushing to pass House Bill 5512, right? They're trying to reverse the unanimous decision that the great team at Cormoran Law fought and won in the State Court of Appeals on behalf of myself. Cormoran Law. The judges and courts do not have the right to play doctor and tell us that cannabis is not a medicine. This is something I've been fighting since I came home from prison in 2008. I had the honor to come home and vote for this law, and I've fought for our rights on this issue ever since. I was the first person to discharge off parole using cannabis. The Attorney General, Attorney Mike Cox, that she was talking about, I threatened to sue them if they violated my rights on parole again, because they did once, and they put me in jail for 30 days. And at the time, I just ran out of money trying to fight them after a year and a half. This time, we were able to have the help from Cormoran Law to really be able to push this case through and set that precedent. Sadly, trying to restrict the rights that so many of us have tirelessly fought for with this House Bill 5512. But this is a God-given plant. They do not have the right to tell us that we cannot cultivate and consume this cannabis. Genesis 1:29, God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed that it is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which that is bearing seed. To you it shall be for meat." In verse 30, I have given you every herb for meat, and it was so. Verse 31, and God saw everything he had made, and behold, it was very good. Right? I've been standing in front of judges since I was 17 years old citing this scripture. I was raised in the church. My dad is an ordained minister. I traveled as a youth evangelist, right? I didn't know what Michigan NORML was when I was younger. I didn't know these other great organizations in the fight for this drug, this natural plant medicine that we have today. But I've been incarcerated for it since I was 15 years old. So this has been a lifelong process for me. And to be able to finally set this in stone. And I encourage you guys really to get out there and get involved. The great organizations like Michigan NORML, like Decriminalize Nature, like the Last Prisoner Project that was mentioned with Michael Thompson, the Americans for Safe Access you'll hear from, the Michigan Freedom Coalition and Michael McCurdy that already spoke, right? There are other great organizations. I want you to get involved. Don't just show up here today, but actually take action. Take this energy, take this vibe that is in this city, and take it with you as you go forward and leave here and throughout this summer. The petition drives that are out there, do things to get involved. This fight is not over. We've heard from them. There's still people getting involved and arrested for cannabis. There's still people incarcerated for cannabis. There's still a gap from 18 to 21 that needs to be addressed, right? My niece should not get in trouble for her use of cannabis just because she's under 21, right? And also, remember, felons can vote. Felons can vote. When I came home from prison in 2008, I voted. I voted at every election since. There are some restrictions, but you can vote. That is a huge misconception. So get out there, activate and initiate your right, and fight and make your voice heard. So, again, we still have people incarcerated while these corporations are paying taxes for doing the same thing. This is not this is not okay. Free the prisoners, free Rudy Gamo, free Danny Trevino, free all these other people that are still incarcerated wrongfully for their cannabis. I also have a couple t-shirts. Let's see how far I can get these things. I love you, Reverend Steve. It was an honor to hear you say that to me when I walked in today, man. You're somebody I've looked up to in this industry for a long time. You and Melanie Carr, among many others. All right. So I have the honor to introduce the attorney. I have a great attorney that I had the honor to work with on this case. He's been involved in this industry for a long time. Attorney Michael Comorn has been practicing law for close to 30 years. He is a skilled litigator and fighter and has proven in hundreds of criminal, civil rights, and civil litigation cases. He has worked to organize patient and caregiver rally events, taken on several pro bono cases for patients, caregivers, and less fortunate. He has fought to maintain the innocence of his clients through hard work, dedication, and many times using Michigan's Medical Marijuana Act and other cannabis laws as a sword to destroy his opponents. Comorn exposed an anti-scientific scheme by the State Police Crime Lab, nefariously used to charge and imprison innocent citizens a few years ago, and continues to highlight injustices within the system. He later sued them in federal court, forcing them to change their unscientific policy. Comorn was one of the attorneys who sued the state and the pharmacy board on behalf of John Sinclair and other victims to remove cannabis from the state's controlled substance list. Comorn was the legal counsel in the landmark People v. Toohey case, in which the high courts upheld the rights for cannabis patients to use their medicine while on probation. I want to introduce to you, and please give a big round of applause and a thank you to Attorney Michael Comorn with Comorn Law.
All righty, thank you, Michael Toohey. We are forever trench buddies, as we know. Happy Hash Bash, everybody. I gotta free the weed. Free the people. The war on drugs has been talked about a lot, and it should be. And it begs the question of why was cannabis made illegal in the first place? And this Hash Bash, which has grown out of the illegal cannabis laws in Michigan, coincide with a 50-year law that was enacted, or event that happened in history, which was driven by Dick Nixon, former president. He wanted to know what to do about cannabis back in the 70s. He created a commission called the Schaefer Commission, and they put together a report suggesting to the federal government that they should not make cannabis illegal. Nixon said, "Didn't you get the memo? These are my enemies, my political enemies. I want to lock them up."
They're the ones that are using cannabis, the Vietnam War protesters, the civil rights activists. And out of this came the Controlled Substances Act, making cannabis a Schedule I drug. Several years later, one of Nixon's aides admitted that they knew this was a lie, that they knew that cannabis was safer than alcohol and most other substances that are legal. The ramifications of this have been 30 million people's lives have been destroyed since that time. Look around you. The war on drugs, cannabis won the war on drugs. Look at the winners around you. These are the winners of the war on cannabis. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of work to be done. For some reason, after announcing that there was $3 billion brought into the state of Michigan from the regulated tax program, cannabis still remains a Schedule I in Michigan. How could this be? Legislators and the governor should be getting locked up if that's true, selling a Schedule I drug and making $3 billion. And despite this, we still got problems where people are getting dragged into courts. Felonized, not so much, but we've got child protective services. We've got housing issues. We've got people under the age of 21 still not protected. Smoking in public. Illegal. And of course, driving. Can't prove anyone's impaired. I don't even know if it's a thing, but people are getting dragged into court for that. Free legal advice today. If you get pulled over by the police while you're driving, don't talk, don't walk, and don't spit in their cup that they want you to. The reality here is that we've made too much of the illegality of cannabis. Should have been never gotten to this point. It's laughable because over the last 12 years I've watched carnage and people's lives get torn apart merely for using medical cannabis or growing for a patient. We've got a long way to go. Be diligent, stay in touch with the laws that are being passed. Michael Tuohy's case, they now have a bill, which is the anti-Tuohy case, trying to allow judges to now prevent medical marijuana patients from using their cannabis when they're on probation. But let me leave you with this. A famous wise woman once said, you give a group of ladies a case of wine, they're going to flip over a table and get in a fight. You give them a bag of cannabis, they'll do a TikTok. Free the weed.
Hey, everybody having a good day? My name's Joe Sullivan, and I am a cannabis caregiver. And this next speaker and I met arguing over politics, and cannabis brought us together. Now we're good buddies. And let me introduce Ryan Bringold.
Happy Hash Bash! This is my 30th consecutive Hash Bash. 30 in a row. So it's a special day for me. Thank you for celebrating with me. Beautiful day out here. A lot of people have said a lot of serious things. A lot of people have said some pretty funny things. I'm on the serious side for a minute, and that's about our rights. For years and years, I came to Hash Bash dreaming that one day I could have cannabis legally in my hand. And I never thought it would happen, but today, we have it. It's in our hands. We can use it. That's a win. We won something. But here's the thing. We won that. But right now in Lansing, there are lawmakers that want to take away your right to grow cannabis in your home. That's a right we've won. We're not going to give up something we've already won. We want more. When we call on you to show up in Lansing, when we call on you to call your lawmaker, when we call on you to write a letter, we need you to do that, because that's how we win. You matter. Every one of you that can hear me, you count. Your voice matters. Do not be tricked into believing it doesn't. I've seen the power that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1,000 people can make. That's why we have cannabis now. I need you guys to go to MichiganWeedsters.com and join. We will tell you the facts, we'll tell you what's happening, when it's happening, and how you can help. Now, my time is up, but I want to introduce the next state rep of the 68th District, encompassing Genesee and Oakland County, Miss Amy Carter.
Thank you, Ryan. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy Carter, and I'm a dedicated mother and a mental health advocate here in the state of Michigan. I started an organization called More Than Hope to stand up for the 262 pediatric patients we have here in the state. I'm so glad I have the opportunity to speak to all of you today. I have very important information for you. As many of you know, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act was passed in 2008, and then Proposal 1 was passed in 2018. They were both ballot initiatives generated by the people of the state. You voted for that. The people of Michigan were heard. Over half of the Michigan residents voted for recreational, and 63% voted for medical. There is terrible legislation being introduced in Lansing, such as trying to reduce plant count or reduce patient access. There are invasive ordinances being approved in townships around the state, infringing on our rights. In order to be heard loudly by lawmakers, we must unite in support of the issues on which we voted for. Join our grassroots efforts at MichiganWeedsters.com or visit us at Monroe Street Fair to find out more. Please respond when there is a call to action. Also, some of you may not have heard I'm a registered candidate in the new 68th District for the House of Representatives. Thank you. The 68th District is near Flint, Michigan. It covers half of Burton, Davison, part of Grand Blanc, Goodrich, Groveland, and Northern Holly. Please get out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Stand for what you believe in. This is Amy Carter running for state representative, reminding you to smoke the vote.
All right, Colin McDougall will introduce our next speaker.
Hey everyone, my name is Colin McDougall, and it's my pleasure to introduce the man whose name consists of two verbs, Chuck Ream, a retired kindergarten teacher and former local official of nearby Scioto Township. Chuck was instrumental in Ann Arbor's famous $5 fine in 1971. Years later, he facilitated a local medical cannabis petition in Ann Arbor, winning with 74% of the vote, before helping some other cities around the state to do the same, and setting the stage for medical cannabis in 2008. Chuck has significantly helped with legalization efforts. Chuck was a founding member and board member of Michigan Legalize, and helped win a successful 2018 legalization. Chuck now contributes his time to Decriminalize Nature movement and was instrumental in the 21 passage of Ann Arbor's resolution to decriminalize entheogenic plants and fungi. Chuck has inspired many great activists, including myself. It is my honor to introduce Mr. Chuck Ream.
It's my great honor to be here today at Hash Bash, the 50th Hash Bash. I was at the first one. I'm happy to be here. I've been smoking for 55 years and I seem to be doing all right so far. I taught kindergarten for 33 years. I was an elected official 5 times in a row. And I traded that in 2004 to run the Medical Marijuana for Ann Arbor campaign, which was a joy. Now we work on the psychedelic initiatives. Please sign the petition for the psychedelic initiatives today. I'd like to mention, I always speak about great themes, but I'd like to mention my brother today. My brother was nearly dead from alcohol a year ago. My only sister has been dead from alcohol for a long time. My brother had anxiety, extreme alcoholism. He was taking anti-nausea pills so he could hold down more alcohol, sweating through his clothes, walking dead man. Make it real quick. He did the hospital detox. Now he's got his cookies. Every day he's joyful. He sends me texts every day. He's watching his plants grow, and his heart is full of joy. And he teaches a class at his local senior center. Complete turnaround. I'm 75 years old, so maybe I should talk about old people. Being really old is new. Really old things didn't used to live. They got eaten by something else. Sometimes consciousness is the only thing that really old or sick people still have left. They should be allowed to manipulate their consciousness to find joy. Why should sick or old people not be able to use cannabis in a million different ways, or mushrooms, or nitrous oxide, or whatever they want to? We will create old folks' homes that will put finding joy ahead of life extension. We will find them, or we will create them. Once you're inside, it's too late, boys and girls. Most of all, I'd like to talk about human life on Earth and why we need mass consciousness change for civilization to survive. By rejecting the forbidden fruit and disconnecting from plant consciousness, we have created a civilization that is on a collision course with nature real soon. You knew the shit had hit the fan when you saw that it was 118 degrees in Canada. We're facing civilization-ending disaster and apocalypse unless human beings change the way we live. We will have to be more careful with resources, live in a simpler way. We enjoy living off the fat of fossil fuels, but our atmosphere is 60 miles thick. Our atmosphere is only 60 miles thick, and we're pumping it full of greenhouse gases. Sorry, I threw my wrist out yesterday. I had to take a cannabis cookie before speaking, or I wouldn't even be here. Watching more things becomes even more pathological than it was before. We know human beings will have to grow up, face facts, and alter the way we live if we hope to survive as a civilized species on this earth and not destroy our deeply interconnected environment. We know there's an intrinsic wisdom contained in ecology, an implied ethic about humility, moderation, interconnection, balance, and natural limits. But does anyone really believe that human beings could unite for the common good rather than split into angry factions and engage in the final civilization-ending catastrophe? It seems impossible that humans could cooperate. It would take a vast change of consciousness to feel that deep interconnection, the brotherhood and sisterhood and connection to the earth, which would be necessary to successfully make it through the hard times and still have fun. We have to substitute something for materialism and consumption. Let's try to substitute peace and joy and love. The magical substances that we love, cannabis and the psychedelics, are the offering that we make to this suffering civilization. We have only scratched the surface in learning how to use them, and we can use them to rediscover sacred truths that don't conflict with reason or oppress people. We can make that understanding the basis of a spiritualized politics of consciousness. That's what I do, is the politics of consciousness. We need a new culture, the re-enchantment of all things. Let's value play and fun and friends and nature and art and thought, not just more stuff. We need the change of consciousness now to see with new eyes. We need a politics of consciousness grounded in ecology. Mother Nature has lots to say. Let's use her tools to listen carefully and save ourselves. Thank you very much. please sign the psychedelic petition today. Power to the people. Right on.
Chuck Ream, everybody. Chuck is a big reason why I got into activism too, just watching him work. He always wins. I'm honored just to be here talking to everyone with a mix of all the speakers today, like Chuck and Dana Nessel and Ellie Savitt and Michael Thompson. I'm happy to introduce the next speaker as well. I got into this whole plant medicine deal with OMA Medicine, dealing with so many patients after patient during the medical laws, when those existed more so than they do today. And I really want to call back to those times of remembering how important this plant is to our health. I wish John Sinclair was here. I want to invite everybody to the Entheo Fest in September 19th. It's this Sunday. It's the second annual. That's a celebration of plant medicines and the passing of a resolution here in 2020 that helps decriminalize plant medicines and fungi in this city. Ellie Savitt came out with his own policy for the entire county of Washtenaw following that. But a big part of that has to be because of this next person I'm about to announce. Julie Barron has done extensive research in health and benefits using cannabis and entheogenic plants and fungi with her clients at Blue Sage Health Consulting. Over the past decade, she's been a pioneer in the psychedelic movement. Julie was a driving force in the creation of the psychedelic community's Michigan Psychedelic Society, which is an incredible community that has wider ranges of psychedelic on topics of health and wellness and recovery. Julie also founded Decriminalize Nature Ann Arbor, which helped get that resolution passed in September 2020. And now, working on a statewide initiative, which you're going to hear more about right now. Please give a huge Hash Bash welcome to Julie Barron.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Happy Hash Bash.
Happy Hash Bash.
Thank you. So how many of y'all like psilocybin mushrooms? Me too. I like them a lot. I want to say that, you know, I am with Decriminalize Nature Michigan. I'm also on the board of Decriminalize Nature National. So I am working on the national level and the state level and also the city level here in Michigan to decriminalize entheogenic plants and fungi. Those things are like psilocybin mushrooms, San Pedro cacti, iboga, and ayahuasca, among others. These are really important healing plants and fungi. Cannabis was my first plant love. And it's because of cannabis and all of the work that all of these activists who've been here today, who've come before me, that we continue their effort. We are moving forward and we're moving into other plants and fungi. And here we are today to do that. So I want to shout out to the Ann Arbor City Council for decriminalizing here in Ann Arbor in September of 2020. Jeff Hayner, who's here, Ann Bannister, who's here, Jack Eaton, who are here. Thank you all. You guys are pioneers in this movement. I also want to mention Detroit decriminalized in November of 2021. That's right. And just a couple weeks ago, Hazel Park, Michigan, also decriminalized. So we are moving along. Things are moving. So we're going to keep it going, other cities throughout Michigan, and then our statewide movement. But I'm going to actually pass the mic next to Michael Williams. Mike Williams is my partner in D-Crime. He is the co-director of Decriminalize Nature Michigan. He is also a board member of Students for a Sensible Drug Policy. And he is going to talk to you about the action we can take now to make sure that we decriminalize these plants and fungi statewide. So welcome, Mike Williams.
How's it going, Hash Bash? Alright, so Julie gave you a lot of background here, what we're doing. First and
You hear me? I'm there. I'm gonna wear.
I got weed, I got treats.
Interesting some ways. Cookies, 3 for 10, guys. 3 for 10. 75 milligrams. Cookies. Yeah. New York Times, Washington Post, 5-star review. Hi, do you want to decriminalize psychedelic plants in the state of Michigan?
Continues to be involved in fighting to make sure that
Thank you very much. No, I signed that shit.
Yeah, thank you. If you would like to be make sure to come party, as well as visit our table at Marcus Street Fair, where we will have Washington County Prosecutor Ellie Savick working on expungement. And also make sure to check out our website at michigancannabis.com. Thank you, everybody.
Friends, here it again for Zara Abbas. She is awesome. She's the best. And now introducing our next speaker, attorney Paul Talinda. I'm Paul Talinda, and I'm just another damn attorney. But I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge all of those in the cannabis community who dedicate themselves to improving the lives of others. The caregivers and the activists, and those who take their time to want to make a better life for people beyond themselves. One of those giants in our community is our next speaker. Not only is she the first pediatric cannabis patient, she's a program director for the Redemption Foundation, which is a nonprofit dedicating to improving the lives of current and former cannabis prisoners. She's a policy director for Disabled Youth Alliance of America, presidents of Sons and Daughters United, which is an organization that makes sure that parents who are incarcerated can still visit with their families. Her current efforts, which is how I know her best,